And joining us now live from Capitol Hill, Wyoming, Senator John Barrasso, chairman of the Republican Policy Committee. Thanks so much for joining me this afternoon, Senator.
Thank you, Kristen. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start off with the victory in New Jersey. Christie, as we've just been talking about, he seems to have solved a lot of the GOP electoral problems, grabbing a majority of Hispanic voters, also big returns among women, African-American voters. On papers, he's the kind of winner your party seems to need. But do you think the more that conservative Republicans see him as a major part of your future, do you think that conservatives are not ready to embrace him quite yet?
Well, I think all Republicans and conservatives want to win the presidency 3 years from now. That election is still a long way to go. We'll have a spirited primary contest, but clearly the disappointment and disgust around the country with this president's health care law, I think, is going to be a driving issue through the 2014 election. I think it'll continue through 2016 as more and more people are hit with sticker shock as a result of the president's health care law. People are going to continue to lose the coverage that they like and aren't going to be able to keep in spite of the president's promises. And the website is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many problems with this health care law that I think it's going to ripple through not just the 2014, but also the presidential election in 2016,
and Senator,
making whoever we nominate a success.
We're going to get to health care in just a moment, but I want to keep it on the issue of the Republican Party. When you look at what happened last night, more broadly, in Virginia, in Alabama, were voters really sending a message to the Tea Party that they're rejecting the Tea Party, that it's just too far right for them?
Well, I think voters were sending a message that they are focused on the economy, they are focused on the health care law, and they want people that can actually govern, people who will show that they are responsible and deal with the problems facing the country. And we want to nominate those folks, and then they'll win elections.
Well, if you look at the breakdown, 48% of voters say they blame Republicans for the government shutdown. A lot of people are saying Ken Cuccinelli lost last night in part because of that. Ken Cuccinelli had crews out stumping for him. So did he not learn the lessons from the shutdown, and is it time to take a different tack?
Well, I thought it was important to keep the government open. Actually, I voted against the shutdown, voted to reopen the government. I think that the president was eager to have a shutdown so he could blame Republicans for it. But I think that it's important for us as Republicans and conservatives to show that we are responsible and can govern responsibly, which is why I think the health care law, to see this incredible overreach by the president and the complete mismanagement and incompetence in the website, but also the continuation of the problems that lie underneath this tip of the iceberg, are going to continue to cause problems for the Democrats in future elections.
And Senator, obviously, to all these points you're making, health care will continue to be a major issue that Republicans bring up. But does your party run the risk of having that messaging backfire if this website starts working, and if folks start getting health care and saying they like it, they like this legislation?
Well, the president has promised a couple things. First, he said that if you like what you have, you can keep it. They know that's not true. He said that the website would work easier than Amazon. That's not true. And he said that the cost, which is a key issue for people, he said would be cheaper than most people's cell phone bills. And people are getting hit with sticker shock. They're realizing that their out-of-pocket costs are going to be higher, not just in terms of their premiums, but also in terms of deductibles, in terms of copay, and the whole issue of fraud related to this website and security risks, people having identity theft. Even today in the hearings in the Finance Committee, the Secretary Sebelius, she said that convicted felons could be hired by the government as navigators, and we're going to have American citizens giving their name, address, social security number, financial information to people who are convicted felons because they are permitted to be hired as navigators. This
Senator,
is a terrible mess.
Just to push back on a couple of your points, 5% of people are going to have to potentially get new plans. The government says many of those folks will get subsidies, and we are hearing from people.
That's 15 million Americans. Each one of these families.
But we are hearing from people who are saying they are thankful that they have health care coverage. So what does your message run the risk of backfiring if more and more people like this start to come forward?
We now have stories from every state of people who've had insurance that they like, people with cancer, people who've had care, who are losing that care because of the health care law, losing their insurance because of the mandates of the health care law, and the president promised the American people, if you like what you have, you can keep it, period. Now he is blaming, and this was the other night in Boston, along with DeVal Patrick, the governor of Massachusetts, blaming the victims of Obamacare, blaming people who had insurance who have now lost it, blaming cancer patients because of the failures of their own law. The president needs to quit doubling down on the dishonesty and come forth and tell the American people that he misled them. He intentionally misled the American people, and what he told them just wasn't true.
All right, Senator Barrasso, we're out of time. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.